start a new season. Got some new and old faces in the building today. Yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome this year. So welcome everybody and let's get it going.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Let's talk about So Memphis.
Yeah, welcome everybody. So yeah, definitely. One of our guests frequently, LaDrew Glasper.
Yeah.
Welcome me into the show again, once again. And one of our good friends, Patrice, Miss Patrice Wooten, welcome me in. So Patrice, if you would like describe Memphis, like in one word, what would be that word?
If I had to describe Memphis in one word, I would say dope. Like, that's definitely how I would describe Memphis. I love Memphis, born and raised, so I'm definitely Memphis.
Definitely Memphis. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I like that.
Yeah, dope. So, what part of Memphis are you from?
North Memphis. Grew up in Fraser.
North.
I grew up in Fraser. So that community is near and dear to me. I'm glad to see they put some money back in Fraser, trying to bring it back up and, beautify. So the city is putting lots of money in development in Fraser. So Fraser's gonna be doing some big things this year.
Okay. Anything to talk about offhand? Developments?
Just a lot of development. I mean,
Okay.
it's nothing in particular. They're just trying to do some neighborhood development. So they're just doing some block grants, a lot of individual residential development.
Okay.
So
Good. Yeah.
expect to see a lot of things. There's some opportunities. So anybody looking to invest, you better put your money in Fraser.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. So you said dope. Fraser, the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So how would you describe yourself to the viewers? If you had one word, I know it's kind of hard to put in one word, but if you had to choose, what would you say?
One word to describe myself right now in this moment in my life, I would say aligned.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah, that's my word. 2022 is alignment. Everything is in perfect alignment, and so I just feel like there's some big things on the horizon. So I'm excited about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Now I know you're a woman of faith. Now, so when you say alignment, how much is that like faith, and how much is that intentional?
I think it's definitely more faith than anything else.
Okay.
Because I'm realizing that every venture, every experience has brought me to the point in my life where I feel like I'm properly aligned with God's will, and so now I'm ready to do kingdom work. And I just didn't see myself being at this, place in my life at this time, but it's go time.
Right.
Yeah. So it's all faith, if I can say,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is go time. So what do you like alignment? What do you think about that? I know that's one of your words. You
Yeah.
like to use. Yeah. What?
Man, I'm about to, I want to jump out this seat.
Okay.
And y'all see me, you can't see me smiling, we are the COVID watchers here. They brave by faith. One of the things that I think happens often is, for most people, it takes me a really long time to understand the key to consistent growth, productivity, and then positive movement is alignment.
Mm-hmm.
You can have everything you need,
Right.
but if something is not properly positioned, it throws the whole direction of where you're going off.
Mm-hmm.
So a car has the right tires, it has the right brakes, it has the right suspension system,
Yeah, come on.
but if it is not aligned properly,
Yes, sir. That's good.
we go trying to add stuff.
Yeah.
When
Wow.
nothing needs to be added,
Wow.
something needs to be adjusted.
Wow, that's good.
So it's not the road,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
not the passengers.
Yeah.
There's some mechanism, typically it's a system, that we're connected to that has us offline. And if we would just get in God's will, aligned with what He's declaring,
Yeah.
then progress is guaranteed.
Right.
My ending is already set. When a car is properly aligned, there's a period where you can take your hands off the wheel and it still go straight.
Yeah.
Don't let me start preaching. The work becomes easier.
Yeah.
Because now I'm finally settled in who I am.
Yeah.
I'm finally in a space of peace.
Yeah.
I'm finally in a space of surrendering to a thing as opposed to trying to force a thing.
Yeah.
A car that's badly aligned, you can keep driving it if you keep forcing it.
Yeah.
Forcing it.
Yeah.
But if you take the time to go ahead and fix something,
Yeah.
I feel like running. If you fix something,
Yeah.
man, that thing will become so easy. And that's one of the things I love about getting older.
Yeah.
The older you get, the less strength you have, the less energy you have.
Mhm.
So you decide to become more efficient and more effective.
Yeah.
You become more targeted. You waste less time.
Right.
So now, if it don't keep me in alignment, or if it will throw me out of alignment, I can't have it in my life.
Exactly.
No matter how much I enjoy it.
Yep.
My goal now is
Yeah.
staying aligned. And I'll close with this space right here. Is I don't have to force productivity.
Yeah, that's good.
All I got to do is stop doing things to stop
That's right.
Good.
it. Once I'm aligned,
Right.
productivity happens automatically.
Right.
Growth happens automatically.
Right.
It just takes place. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say after this one, but she blessed my heart.
That's the show right there.
Yeah, that's it.
That was
Appreciate
good.
it.
Alignment for me has definitely been everything that you just said. Has been. I've been an agent for 20 years, and I don't ever feel like I was properly aligned. I knew what I was supposed to do, and I was productive. I was blessed. Don't get me wrong, but it was just so much was pulling. I was being pulled in so many different directions. So I stayed more stressed than anything. But now that I feel like I'm in proper alignment, things are just falling into place. Aligned, God will give you the right people at the right time and all the wisdom you need to succeed in this life. And all this time, for 41 years, I feel like I made it hard on myself because I wasn't in alignment. And it wasn't until I realized that I needed to surrender everything. You can't just say you trust God and expect things to fall into place. You gotta show Him. You really, really have to. So, y'all gonna make me stop.
Go ahead.
I remember a long time ago, it had to been maybe 15, 16 years ago. I used to go to Riverside Baptist Church. And Kevin Willis said that at some point, you got to stop running from your kingdom responsibilities. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? You know? And I was a yes man. I had to do everything. Yes. I didn't know how to tell nobody no, so I was stressing myself so thin because I didn't know how to be in alignment. I didn't know what that meant. I just felt like I'm supposed to serve, and if somebody asked me, I need to say yeah. You know, and I was stretching myself so thin, so it wasn't until I realized that no, you need to be in alignment with God's will. Yeah, you can do these things, but is that what you should be doing?
Come on.
You know, so it wasn't until, maybe the pandemic really, really highlighted that for me and showed me that you haven't been in alignment, my dear. That's why you've been stressed. That's why you've been overwhelmed, because you have not been in alignment. So you need to get there.
Get in alignment.
And that's what 2020 did. The pandemic was a blessing and a curse. I mean, it was a rough year, but I learned a lot about myself, a lot about alignment, and a lot about like crazy faith. Like really, like we say we have faith, but 2020 really revealed like you gotta have it. That's the only way you're gonna survive.
Right.
My daughter preached a message yesterday. She graduated from Rose College with a degree in neuroscience, and the title of her message was defeating perverse productivity. And she talked about how perverse productivity is when we develop such an ambition for things that we stop even consulting God. We just go based off of our logic, our understanding, our knowledge, or the last things we experienced. And that's kind of what happens sometimes, because we know we have the ability to do things, we just going at it. If it's lawful, we don't worry about if it's expedient, we just going at it. But when you start getting in alignment, it's not productivity at any cost. I want the productivity that's sustainable. That's not going to rob me of my peace to get it. That's not going to rob me of my joy. So now I'm not going to work 20 hours a day, not see my children, not spend time with my family, but I'm getting a bag. It's productivity, but it's perverse. It has now become the goal as opposed to something that you gain on the way to the goal. The goal is the peace, and not the goal itself. So I got excited.
Great point.
That's it. You gotta be careful, allowing things to take you out of alignment. We talked about that, and even if you're in proper alignment, you can be in the right alignment, but you could be on the wrong road. The wrong road will take you out of alignment. You hit a speed bump, pothole, it'll knock that car right out of alignment, even if you're in it. So you got to be careful also to be on the right road, even when you're in alignment. So that's good when you guys talking about that. And so, we talked about how, the pandemic and just, having the type of faith that really stretches you, and we talked about also being mature and getting older. So what lessons would you guys, I know we came up, around strong women in our household, but what lessons would you guys give your kids, your children, about being in alignment and and stretching your faith? What would you say to your kids if they were in your position right now?
You want to go first?
Go for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. One of the lessons that I really am on my kids about now is self-mastery. I tell my kids self-mastery is the greatest challenge in life. Like you can't control all the different factors of the world and things that happen to different pressures, but you can control yourself. So self-mastery is something I'm still working towards, at 41 years old. But self-mastery to me means being able to be disciplined, being able to know thyself, be true to thyself, being able to process different emotions. Like that takes self-mastery.
Yeah.
A lot of us make decisions out of haste, anger, frustration. Like you have to master yourself so that you can undertake whatever this world is gonna challenge you with.
Right.
Like so for me, I tell my kids all the time, self-mastery is discipline. Just because you can do it don't mean you should do it. You need to weigh out the pros and cons.
That's good.
What's your end goal? Start with the end in mind.
Right.
So to me, just self-mastery.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
That's so good. I think one of the things that I've been kind of stressing, you can't help but want your children to be better than you, but also be like you if you've done certain things that have worked. And for me, one of the things that just kind of worked through the years is being sacrificial. So many times, it's my opinion now that we live in such a self-centered society.
Right.
If I hear one more person talk about self-care, I'm just gonna pass out. I'm just gonna pass out.
Yeah.
And when really they've taken getting your hair done, nails done, toes done, and self-care, no, it's just upkeep.
That's
Yeah.
It ain't even self-care, it's
Yeah.
just upkeep.
Yeah.
It's
Right,
maintenance.
right,
You
right,
get what
right,
you understand?
right.
And so we've kind of, we talk in our house sometimes about main character syndrome, where everything you think about is really about you.
Wow, that's good.
Which puts you in a space of being self-centered, which leads to being selfish.
Yeah.
And because I really believe in the law of reciprocity,
Right.
whatsoever man giveth, we turned it into a money scripture, but it's whatsoever
whatever.
a man giveth.
Right.
And I, being married now 26 years.
Better edit that
I think it's 26. We've been together 28.
Yeah.
And I'm still sprung like Donkey Kong.
Right,
Never
right.
cheated on her. I don't think
Yeah.
she never cheated on me.
Yeah.
I say, people say, you don't know what folk have done.
Yeah.
I'm the same thing. I know my baby. I know you ain't never cheated. But in that I've seen that what has made our marriage beautiful is I didn't just want a wife, I wanted to be a husband. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I went into it with the thought of what I could give a woman.
Yeah.
And not just what I could get from her. And so I really try to teach my girls, and I have so many spiritual children as well, a little older than Patrice here, and we feel old, that when you are sacrificial,
Hold on,
You'll
before
never
you go
laugh.
there,
Yes, sir.
you got the bunny hop backwards over there. You got to go back cha-cha slide to that.
Yes,
We
sir.
talk about with the husband.
Uh-huh.
Not only did you want a wife, 'cause we
Yeah.
know scripture said he didn't find a wife,
yeah.
find a good thing, but you said you desire to be a husband.
Absolutely.
Talk about that, and the reason why you come from a single parent home and you have two daughters.
Absolutely.
Natural daughters as well, spiritual. I really want you to key in and zone in on that for us.
You see, when you have main character syndrome, you always look at things how you can benefit from them,
Right.
and not how something can benefit you.
Yeah.
And most people are getting married because they want a spouse,
Right.
but they're not looking to be a spouse. So the woman's saying, I can't wait to get me a husband.
Good.
But what would happen if that woman said, I can't wait to be a wife? Woo! I'm so
Yeah.
excited about being a wife one day.
Yeah.
See, now you're in the space of what can I give? And when I get into the space of what I can give,
Yeah.
I activate the law of reciprocity, because whatever I give is coming back to me. I'm sorry, good measure.
Right.
Press down,
Yeah.
shake together.
Yeah.
So it comes back in overflow.
Right,
so I
right.
teach my children, and I think that's one of the problems why marriages are failing.
Right.
Because we get into this space of what am I getting out of it? And when
Yeah.
you go into that direction, when you no longer get what you wanted,
Yeah.
you stop doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because it was comparison. So I try to teach people, man, are you ready to be a husband?
Yeah.
Not ready to be one only, but do you desire to be one? See, I saw my mama suffer. I saw my sisters going through, And I said to myself, even as a young boy, man, when I get me a wife, she ain't gonna worry about nothing.
Yeah.
I was a little boy, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a desire was in me. I can't wait till I get me a wife.
Yeah.
That was through running the street, doing wrong, all the lying, cheating, and all that. But the moment I got a wife, all that desire came back. So if we start developing within ourselves the desire to be a wife before we get married, there's something that we will operate in the moment we have that opportunity. And we're not looking for what we can get. And in that, I'll stop right here, we wind up getting even more than we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, that's right.
Because our focus is what we're giving.
Giving rather than what we get.
And not what we receive.
That's it.
Absolutely. So now I want to ask the question again, who wants to be a husband?
Right.
And then who wants to be a wife? Now, if I want to be a husband, what does that entail?
Right.
Come let me show you.
Love them. I want to know.
Love them.
What are you about to say?
I was just going with it.
Yeah.
Some people don't know what that means to be a husband.
Woo,
Some
it's-
people don't know what that means to be a wife.
Yeah.
So we want to know.
Yeah.
That was out. That was out.
So,
But they got me on the hot seat, though.
let me interject this.
Yeah.
Let me feed this to you in this way, because some people, and I'm just piggybacking on what he's saying. Some people think that a wedding makes a husband, but a wedding doesn't make a husband, right? So tell us, in your opinion, what makes a husband?
Yeah, you know, I think the thing that makes a husband is the thing that made Adam.
Yeah.
The thing that made Adam was not what he produced. It was how he multiplied what he got. It was how he cared for what was given to him.
Right.
Adam, he'd go to ground, work it. Make fruit grow from it.
Right.
He'd go to animals, name them.
Yeah.
And so one of the pure signs of being a husband is you make whatever is under your care better. Listen, now, I'm putting it this way because I really could go scripture, but everybody watching ain't a Christian.
That's good though. That's good though.
Can I tell y'all, I got married and I wasn't a Christian.
But that's good though, because this is the key. This is what I'm hearing you saying, because a lot of times when we hear about Adam, we automatically think about the mistakes he made. But what you said was something key. You said better, not perfect.
There it is.
You see what I'm saying?
There it is.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the danger. A lot of times, society, there's a pressure, with social media,
Images.
you know what I'm saying, images of this perfection. But, God didn't call us to be perfect. He just called us to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be faithful.
Yeah.
You know
Now, I
what I'm
do
saying?
believe, Pastor David, that the husband is meant to be the lead sacrificer.
Right.
So we don't tell you what to do, we show you what we do in our actions, and then that becomes what the whole house follows.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
that's good.
But one of the problems now, I'm finna get into something, and if y'all throw me off the show, my feelings I think because, especially in the last 40 years, the drug epidemic, especially of the 80s, took men out of the home, right? Yeah. And so many men have been raised at the feet of their mothers, aunties, and grandmothers. Not calling them gay, not saying something wrong with gay, but they develop a certain effeminate nature.
Right.
And so now you have a huge group of men who are saying, what about my feelings? As opposed to saying, how do I cover your feelings? Now, I'm not saying men's feelings don't matter, but there has been an adjustment to now Adam was the first nurturer. Now, if you know scripture, you go into the space where he says, love your wife as Christ loved the church, and it's all sacrifice. It's all forgiving. It's all understanding. Right. It's not her being perfect. As a matter of fact, in that space, he doesn't even command the wife to love the husband. He commands her to honor him. So now the sister has to pull down her, I'm no better than you. She has to pull down her, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. Like it's a whole, you know, my dad didn't tell me what to do, you ain't gonna tell me. So it's a whole energy. That's one of the reasons, and I'll get along with it, so forgive me. That's one of the reasons it's so important to have a desire to be a husband. Because it won't be easy. There has to be a made up mind. And if you watching today, all you need to do this is a desire to make what you have better from having you.
That's it. So
that's it.
That's key, because you talked about the household you grew up in, and then Patrice, I know you personally, but like, so what would you say to your daughters? Because you have daughters as well. So what would you say from your life experience, and also from you growing up, as a young lady in Frazier, what would you say to your daughters, about making decisions about finding a mate or a spouse?
So that's a difficult conversation to have, especially in times today.
Right.
My mother and father were married and they got divorced when I was like in junior high school.
Okay.
But I have a lot of divorce in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, struggling to really find what a successful marriage looks like. I know it's a lot of work. Now, my grandparents were married 50 plus years.
Right.
And they had 12 kids. And so when I look at marriage and I think about my grandmother passed in 2006, my grandfather never dated again. He still wore his wedding ring until he passed in February last year. So to me, that was love.
Wow.
So if I would say anything, we would be looking for that level of commitment to one another.
Right.
Like they were a partnership. They were a team. They had 12 kids. They had a farm. They they worked together. My grandfather built their house with his bare hands. Like those things. So when I look for, I look at the qualities my granddaddy had, and to me, that's what I'm really looking for in a husband.
Right.
Somebody who took care of family, somebody who was, a protector, a coverer, who provided. He would help my grandmother. They had a lot of girls. He would help her comb their hair sometimes. So when I look at that, I see. It saddens me to see some of the men today because there's certain things they won't do. I ain't helping you comb no hair. I'm not doing it. But I look at my grandfather, and as humble as he was, like he took care of business all day long, and he loved his wife. I saw how he loved my grandmother. And so, I don't know. That's a difficult conversation to have.
You said something key though that I totally agree with. I had this conversation. I don't know if we had it or I had it with somebody, but that's what I say. The main thing is partnership. It's got to be a partnership. It's just like going into business together. If you're a business partner, you can't make a decision about that business without consulting with your partner.
Right.
So it's pretty much in the same sense to me. That you use the partnership part.
Absolutely.
I was talking about that. I can't remember exactly what our conversation was, but I thought that was very important.
And Dr. if I can interject, and you can do that. Whether you got a third grade education or 5 degrees,
it don't matter.
Whether you make $8 an hour or $800 an hour, if you have a desire to be a husband or a desire to be a wife, and you literally love the person that you're with and not trying to control them, but want real partnership, man, there's nothing y'all can't do.
Right.
And I don't think that you always need to see a perfect example or an example. I think you don't have to see that because I think like my wife and I don't think either of us saw the perfect example of what a marriage is. I think we just built what we got, and
brick by brick,
and just grew together. And we get a lot of compliments about how it look like we got a great thing going and all of that, but it was just learning each other. It wasn't always peaches and cream, it was all. It just took. You had to take a level of ownership of yourself too.
Right.
You got to do inventory. All sorts of other things. It's really. I think it's more. You have to have some type of self-evaluation, and like you said, you got to want to be. You got to want to be. And that's what I wanted to be. I kind of relate to what you said. I seen my mother go through some things, and I didn't want to put a person that I say I love through what I saw my mom, which I knew I loved my mother. I didn't want to put anybody through that. So that was kind of like a driving force for me. Because I wanted it to be right. We went to counseling, and I asked the question. What do I need to know what I need to do to make this thing successful. Because I don't really know what.
That's good, because that's what I keep hearing you saying, and what he echoing is that the fact it takes sacrifice, but that's not being selfish.
Right.
Because you're asking, how can I make it better? What can I do to improve upon this? You know what I'm saying? What can I do to avoid my wife reciprocating the same thing that I saw my mother go through. You know what I'm saying? That's not selfish. You know what I'm saying? That's you willing to sacrifice and say, hey, I want to do better than the previous generation. And that's really all a person can do. You know what I'm saying? It's to give your all. You know what I'm saying? Give your best. And it's don't allow the negative tensions of the outside to affect what's going on the inside.
That's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? And once you can get that under control, and then you can make it through
Mm-hmm.
pretty much anything in a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And what you decide to go through in your marriage, your relationship, is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, your tolerance.
Yeah.
Your tolerance is for your household.
Yeah.
It ain't for nobody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and you gotta define that early on, or otherwise you allow outside influences to come in and redefine your marriage based on their opinion.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And Dave, I can interject. Sometimes we allow those influences to come in because we brought them in.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is we brought with us an idea
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I ain't gonna let no woman run me.
Yeah.
You know, and it don't even come up
Yeah.
until she say, "Well, what time you gonna be home?" I'll be home when I get home.
Hold on, I'm just trying to see.
Right.
I want to have dinner ready for you.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But the brain is doing
Exactly.
this thing.
Exactly.
Sometimes we don't
Exactly.
understand that we still have, I don't care how long we've been in church,
Yeah.
we still have the same filter of our disappointments. I've been through this before. I felt that before, especially when you've seen divorce, all that kind of thing. I had a role model. My role model was Cliff and Claire Huxtable.
Yeah.
I'll get to that another time. But I saw an image
Yes, sir.
that said that's possible. And
It
if
is.
somebody wrote that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that means it can be done. If they put it on a TV,
Yeah.
it's possible.
Yeah.
But what happened is when you become sacrificial, marriage stops being work and it starts being want to. Watch this. I make clothes.
Yeah.
I'm never working when I'm making clothes.
Yeah.
I get paid for it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
It don't feel like work. I be like, these folks actually paying me to do
To do what I love.
what I love.
Yeah.
So here I am, 26 years in marriage and love it.
Yeah.
And that's what us arguing, disagreeing probably every day.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to talk about that.
Right.
But you can disagree without being disagreeable. You learn to compartmentalize because now, here it is, you don't feel like you are special for doing the right thing. So because I've not cheated, that doesn't make me a good husband.
Yeah. That's it.
I'm not supposed to
You're
cheat.
supposed to cheat.
So now I'm not looking for some great credit. So now it becomes easy to do
Yeah.
because I don't feel like I'm special for doing it.
Yeah.
So when we start desiring sacrifice,
Yeah.
sacrifice stops being work. Same way with giving.
Yeah.
Most people are broke because the moment you get some money, you become stingy.
Mm-hmm.
You can start trying to hold it.
That's it.
When for money, the money is currency. Currency is a flow.
Flow.
Electric currents or water current.
Yeah.
It has to move.
Yeah.
And the minute you stop moving it, you start losing it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that typically doesn't even hit poor people.
That's it.
It hit middle class people.
Yeah.
That's it.
The minute you get a little more money than you had before, your whole attitude change, energy change, giving change,
Wow.
and you stop growing.
Yeah, we said that. The wife and I was talking about that. We said that some people think it's hard to be broke. I said, no, it's hard to be rich.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ain't had no money pressure until you had some money.
Yes. Yeah.
What big is that? More money, more problems. You know what I'm saying? Because it's real. Because that's a whole nother level. That money would talk to you.
Man.
That money would
Man.
talk to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially when it's coming to the point, like you're saying, being sacrificial and giving and helping others. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you start to really get that, because your heart is your most important part of your body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not because blood flows through it,
Mm-hmm.
but also what happens when blood stops flowing.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you stop the flow of your heart, guess what? You die.
Yeah.
So when you stop the flow of that giving, guess what?
That money drive.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same principle.
Yeah.
Same principle. Oprah taught us that.
Yeah.
We might not like what's the young lady name? Short haircut talk show host, Caucasian lady.
Ellen.
No.
Yeah.
We might not agree with her lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
but her show, her second show
Mm-hmm.
that she had, which is now, a lot of people don't know she was on TV once before. It didn't do good.
Mm-hmm.
But the second talk show, she adopted Oprah's principle.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you watch Ellen, you might not agree with her lifestyle or what she does, but guess what? She got that giving down pat.
I promise you.
She's giving something away, and guess what? That giving brings success.
Promise you.
Yes.
It's a principle.
Yeah.
It's a principle.
Yeah.
And so we can relate that to marriage and relationships. But when you're able to stop being selfish
Mhm.
and start being sacrificial,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it allows things to flow.
Mhm.
It allows things to flow in the household.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like you saying, different mindsets in the house, we bring a previous generation mindset
Yeah.
into our current circumstance.
Mhm.
But what worked for my mama, as great as they married, they've been married, almost 60 years.
Mhm.
As great as their marriage is, ain't gonna work in my house.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As successful as their marriage was,
Yeah.
as it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not gonna work for me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like one thing that I heard somebody say one time was, you got to have a stash. My mama taught me, Big Mama taught me to have a stash.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying you're okay with hiding money from your husband.
Right.
Well, if you start hiding money, guess what else you start hiding?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? See, them old mindsets can't work in your relationship. You got to do what's working for your household.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your grandma may have been married to your granddaddy who gambled way the money.
Yeah.
But your husband ain't no gambler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he got a great financial mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you bringing in that different type of
mindset
in there, and that can mess up your own household. That's
Can I
all.
ask a question though?
Go ahead.
Is there a thin line? Because I want, sometimes I teach about that, and sometimes I've said that we can't use the old method, but we need the old mentality. So the method was hiding money for a rainy day.
Right.
This was a system of security.
Right.
Can't use that method, but the mentality of the woman that was saying, "Baby, let's not spend it all.
Right.
What can we do to secure our future?"
Yeah.
So if we grab that principle,
Yeah.
not the method, but the principle,
Right.
and say, how can I pull a principle into my marriage that says to me and my husband, let's not spend it all.
Yeah.
And it's going to look different. And,
Yeah.
and the reason I say this is because sometimes I think we throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Because you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the principle was right, but the method was not needed because we get to hide and it just ain't gonna work in this space. But again, that's why I keep talking about that whole space of, and I've learned not to say selfish as much.
Yeah.
Because nobody agrees that they're selfish. Nobody thinks they're selfish. I've never heard anybody say, "I'm so selfish."
Yeah.
So I use self-centered.
That's good.
When you got main character syndrome, all you got to do is sit and think, when I'm thinking about what it is are the issues in my life, am I the main person in the conversation? I'm tired because of the kids.
Yeah.
I'm sick of my spouse. I'm tired from work. It lets you know you are the main denominator in everything you think about. So
Right.
you'll find out you're not as sacrificial as you think you are.
Yeah.
Now you may be doing sacrificial acts,
Yeah.
but if you're waiting on a reward for the act, it never was sacrifice.
Yeah.
It was
But
work
it's still right
that
back
you're
in.
not. You waiting on pay.
Yeah.
It's right back to you.
That's good. But no, that's great because again, it keep revolving around the same principle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my wife know I can make the money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Ain't to be played with. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah.
But I had to learn and get to the point and lay my manly pride down.
That's good.
That even though I can make money, you know what I'm saying, in the middle of Alaska,
Yeah.
she's a better money manager.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that takes me not being selfish, but also trusting her.
That's
Yeah.
good.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So now there's a difference in agreeing on everything and then coming into agreement.
That's good.
It is.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now we may not agree, because I make the money, I feel like I should manage it,
Yeah.
but it don't work. You see what I'm saying? So we come into agreement, and I let her manage. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and that agreement is founded on trust.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So now she ain't got to have a secret stash.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I got her own bank account.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That I put money in.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I gave, last year I gave her a business that earned 6 figures for the last 10 years.
Mhm.
I gave it. I made her the CEO of it.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? But that's because, like you're saying, you want to see her do better than the previous generation.
Yeah.
You
And
see
that's
what
a
I'm saying?
husband.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what a husband is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you learn it.
Yeah.
And it's not like a perfection. It's not like I always knew that.
Yeah.
You know, but I was able to learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
And not only this, she was able to trust me through my mistakes.
Yeah. That's good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You know what I'm
important.
saying?
It's very
That's good.
important.
Yeah.
Cause sometimes you make a mistake and people like, I'm done with you.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
done
saying?
with
I'm watching my head with you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't take it no
I can't
more.
take it no more. You know what I'm saying?
But
Yeah.
Told you don't
it
do that.
goes back to what Dante said about partnership, though. And so when you look at your marriage, you look at it as a partnership. That was you being able to identify your strengths and your areas for opportunities, and knowing that your wife is going to stand in the gap because
That's
she
true.
has different strengths than you had. And so a lot of things, I think me, trying to be in the dating world today, a lot of guys just don't get
Help 'em, Lord.
it. They just don't get it. They just like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. You do what you want to do. Like,
Oh,
it ain't no
Lord.
partnership. There's no transparency. Everybody wants to be their own person and stay in this bubble, and it just people are not willing to be open. They're not willing to be transparent. Therapy is a prerequisite for me. If we're gonna
Yeah.
date, then we're gonna go to therapy.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we need to. A lot of times we make decisions based on past trauma that we have not properly processed.
Ooh, yeah.
That keeps you from moving forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's been sometimes you don't even know you got unprocessed trauma.
Right.
You don't even know that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like before you can be successful at being a wife, you need to self-evaluate yourself and make sure that you have processed any trauma and dealt with any issues and gotten yourself together so that you can be a good wife,
Yeah.
a good spouse.
Yeah.
And so it takes some, I'm going back to self-mastery. It's looking deeper than yourself and saying, do I have all my ducks in a row?
Right.
And do I know my areas of opportunity? What do I need to work on to be a better me? Because I want to be a great spouse. I want to attract the type of spouse that I want to be. So I need to get myself together. So, I advocate therapy. I think it's a good thing. Black
Yeah.
people don't talk about it a lot in families.
No,
We
we
just
don't.
we just talk to be strong. Like
Yeah.
whatever you go through, whatever traumatic experience, you just keep
You gotta
moving.
take it.
And, sometimes you gotta stop and process that.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes people don't, like someone you love, you're in a relationship with or whatever.
Yeah.
If they identify something in you that you may not have identified yourself, like you were saying, we say you can do self-check, and all that.
Yeah.
It is
Let them check
a
it.
line I love.
Yeah.
It's a line that I love to use all the time. Is sometimes you can't see the movie for being in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't really identify yourself
Yeah.
because you're
That's good.
you're in the movie,
Right.
Mhm.
but the people watching the movie can see it. Just
Yeah.
so sometimes trust in their word. If they bring something to your attention
Mm-hmm.
about certain characteristics,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
habits, whatever the case may be, sometimes individuals cannot accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Attack.
an attack,
Yeah.
pointing the finger, or
Yeah.
that's but that's supposed to be the person you said that you love.
Mhm.
And they
Yeah.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to that mindset. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's why I think therapy is so important for couples who want to make a successful relationship, because therapy can be a safe space, because you're right, you will not see everything in yourself. You
Yeah.
can't identify all your flaws. And a lot of times therapy provides that safe space where you can do fact, feeling, and feedback. I might not even know I do something.
Yeah.
And somebody brings it to my attention, but that's my safe space where I can hear that person clearly without being offensive or feel
Yeah.
like I'm being attacked.
Yeah.
Right.
It's our safe space. We're gonna learn to grow together, but in order to do that, we both gotta be transparent.
Right.
So we can work out our issues and learn how to work through them. That's not to say that it's gonna make us perfect by going through therapy, but it's gonna teach us how to work together, how to work like a team, how to be transparent, and how to effectively communicate with one another to have a successful relationship and marriage.
Right.
I
That's
think you
good.
have to let the person be themselves too.
Yeah.
That's just personal feeling. That worked. I think that worked on my behalf because
Yeah.
I let my wife be her.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to be somebody else's wife
Mhm.
or just see someone something that's in someone else. You be like, I wish my wife was like this, or I wish certain things you may see on the outside. You can't bring that in,
Mm-hmm.
and try to put that on them.
Right.
No,
Because
that's
that's
good.
not who they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not who they are.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
So you
You
got
talking
to
about
allow them to be
Be themselves.
themselves.
Yeah. Let me
No,
ask you this,
yeah,
though, Dante,
that's good.
because I'm totally in agreement. But what I find is a lot of times the us that we are
Mm-hmm.
has been developed from trauma,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
and it's not even the us; it's it's our representative. It's the thing that we had developed. In other words, I'll be very transparent. I had never been in love before I met my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and if you met me in '91.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't recognize me now in 22.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm in college. I got sisters. We got my own apartment, me and my sister. I ain't thinking about no commitment with no woman or none of that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was trauma
Yeah.
because before 91, Jet Black didn't come in style until about 88. They got for Wesley Snipes and Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So in one summer, I go from going on LeJour
Yeah.
to hey LeJour.
Yeah.
And no matter how nice I was,
Yeah.
Right.
but it wasn't until culture said my color was acceptable
Yeah.
that now somebody want me.
Yeah.
And so now I'm callous, I'm hard, I'm mean. I ain't finna be, look man, go on do your thing, leave me alone, I'm straight. We hook up when we hook up.
Right.
So my wife meets me and she think that that's me. It's really not me.
Yeah.
It was my trauma standing in front of me.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to see in a person what is their learned behavior, their defense mechanisms, and not who they are when they're at their most vulnerable state. Man, I am a cry baby.
Yeah.
Yes, I still have a 5'4" ministry. I can fight. I'm a reason I was born in East St. Louis and raised in South Memphis. You know what I'm saying? Bells Apartments, real South Memphis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I cry at boo. I'm a baby. You get what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But I had closed that off. And so sometimes I think one of our jobs is to learn our spouse. I teach people, study your spouse.
Yeah.
And study the behavior patterns that they will exhibit when ain't nobody looking.
Yes.
And then you can help them feel free enough to let the guards down and be who they really are and not just who they learn to be. And so I think that sometimes one of the book that I'm writing, one of the chapters is you don't just marry your spouse, you marry their experiences.
Yep.
Everything that they've gone through. I ain't married your mama, I married you. Just keep watching. Yes, you did. You had a mama too. Because that's what she learned. You see. So I think the wisdom in getting married is understanding it's a marathon, not a sprint. And sometimes you have to be with a person long enough. I'll say this now. Stop. I learned my wife had been cheated on. It didn't matter if I didn't cheat on her. She still had the residue of being cheated on. And so the first 2 years, I'm tripping because she want to know everywhere I'm at. Where I'm going, what time I'm gonna get back. And then it hit me. If I said to Del Doors Park, if I don't plan on leaving, what if it take her 7 years to learn that I'm not gonna cheat? Why am I so bothered that she doubt me now if I ain't going nowhere? And if I ain't gonna cheat? It didn't take 7, but it took 4. And riding down the street one day, she looked at me, she said, honey, you finally taught me how to love. And so I think that's the key. Giving people time to let down, I'll say this is my final point, to let down a wall that has protected them.
That's good.
See, her watchful eye protected her from other men. I had to be able to be with her long enough to let her know you ain't gotta have that wall no more. But if I come in trying to break it down, trust me, believe me.
You're a threat. You're still a threat.
I'm still a threat.
Because you break it up. The wall of protection. So that's good because we've all seen the trauma, in the black neighborhood. I got someone working on talking about PTSD, and I know it's a military term. We honor the military and all they've done, but the black community has suffered some traumatic experience.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Some traumatic
Project stress trauma syndrome.
For real. Just I mean, really, real deal trauma. You know, and then even with relationships, I think a lot of times previous generations tried so hard to hide things from us for the sake of protection. But it really hurt us. You know what I'm saying? So like, for instance, if granddad cheated on grandma, you know what I'm saying, they hide it from us. You know what I'm saying? Or granddad, he got his crown royal hide on the side of the bed. You know, they hide it from us when they really should have been more transparent with us, because then we could have made the decision and saw what grandmama or granddaddy did and how they got through that. Rather than when they come into our life, you know what I'm saying, we caught off guard with it. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
You know, because we'll see it for the first time, we're like, oh man, I ain't dealing with this. You know what I'm saying? Rather than knowing how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or even they have the choice to say whether I want to deal with it or not, or just automatically throwing my hands up and quit. You see what I'm saying?
That's good.
Because that trauma was not shared. As a black in the black family. Patrice talked about counseling, things like that. That's like taboo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna cancel? You crazy? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You automatically
Yeah.
associate counseling
With crazy.
with crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
When
Straight jacket.
straight jacket.
Yeah.
When your folks crazy anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody know who crazy in the family anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like no, you really do need counsel. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know that crazy cuz you gonna call. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When it going down. You know what I'm saying?
You already know.
Rather than just sharing that, and being open. So, what do y'all think about that? Like growing up, in y'all different experience, because, of course, nothing like the black family, black community. But I'm saying, how did that affect us? The trauma that you may have experienced, growing up or something you seen.
I think, this is the reason why I keep going back to therapy, because I think certain behaviors are results of traumatic events, right?
Okay.
So traumatic events cause a narrative. Something we think in our head, and the narrative causes our behavior.
Mm.
So when we see people behavior, we just automatically say, oh, he a dog. You don't know why he feels that way, why he does what he does, and vice versa, from a woman perspective. So a lot of times it's just being able to understand what is the narrative. That's why I keep mentioning therapy, because I need to understand your behavior.
Right.
If you a cheater, or if you whatever,
Right.
if you fiscally irresponsible, if whatever, I need to understand that so we can work through that together. If I don't know what causes that behavior, then I'm
Right.
just automatically assuming you don't care. So I need to understand that piece of it, and I think we all should try to seek to understand why we behave the way we do. So
Right.
even when I say self-mastery and self-care, I keep going back to that, because a lot of times an extremely independent woman, people always say, oh, she just so extremely independent, she hard, but you don't know why. Like you said, that's a protection mechanism.
Yeah.
I'm extremely independent because I feel like I need to protect myself from my past experiences.
Right.
That's the narrative that I had in my mind, so that causes my extreme independence as my behavior. So people need to break that down to understand why.
Right.
So I think from growing up in childhood, certain things you see, you don't really know how to process all that. You're trying to figure it out. And like you said, because you only see bits and pieces of it, what they allow you to see.
Yeah.
You don't know the reason why mom and daddy got a divorce.
Right.
So in your mind, you're trying to figure out what, all marriage gonna end up in divorce. I never wanted to get married because I said it would always end up in divorce. Every relationship in my family, except for my grandparents, it seemed to be a divorce. So I'm like, well, man, maybe marriage just is a fallacy. Maybe that ain't even real.
Right.
And so for me, I didn't understand, because I only saw bits and pieces of that failed marriage,
Right.
And so not understanding that, when I got married, I didn't understand how to be a wife,
Yeah.
because I didn't understand that, because I'd already went in with my mind, I never wanted to be married. I'm only getting married because I got these kids, and I feel like that's the next step. I need to be married now. But I didn't have it wrapped around my head to say, to be a wife, this is what you gotta do. I tried to be a good wife,
Yeah.
but not understanding, being young, you don't understand the behaviors, you don't understand the narrative, why it is the way it is. It leads to disaster. When you don't take the time to break it down, do like you guys did to go to therapy. We are our own individual people. Guess what? This ain't working. We done. We throwing our hands up. We're not trying to understand and learn so we can work through it and make it work. We just done because it's too stressful and it's too hard.
Yeah. Right.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Man, I want to first let me tell you, you're going to be remarried. It's going to be amazing because you're already a wife now, and you desire to be one. And
I receive it.
It's I say it, you can hear it.